You know what time it is. It is time for more SFL League action. Welcome to Mount Olympus Stadium here in Washington State, where the Trident hosts the visiting Minnesota Legend. It is a slightly warm 75 degrees tonight here in Washington. There's a forecast of clear night skies. But as always, folks, you know what my forecast is. We're going to get another great evening of football. I am your play-by-play commentator, Mark Lopez. And with me on Analyst is the one and only Brandon Walters. Brandon, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing good, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here in the booth with you tonight. And I mean, this is a great matchup. You know, both these teams, playoff teams from last season, but I think they've struggled a bit coming in, you know, both at 3-3 right now. This is a critical game in that lower reach of the playoff hunt. You know, one of these teams is going to be leaving here with a losing record tonight, and that could be critical in terms of whether or not they're going to make the playoffs at the end of the season.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, both teams 3-3. As a bunch of divisional rivals have played their games already this evening. Vancouver, one of the rivals for Washington, coming away with the win earlier tonight. So this will be a game where Washington's trying to keep up with that division leader. To keep their playoff hopes alive, actually, for both teams. This game is going to be starting off with Washington receiving the ball off of the kickoff, returned to the 27-yard line. Let's take a look at the Washington offense for the first time. They are starring their quarterback, Tommy Utah. Running backs are Dwayne Salmons, Christopher Dean, and Julian Gusters. Wide receivers are King Alexander, Johan Sutherland, Terrell Cooper, Shane Kaufman, and Phil Koss. Tight end, Azami Mihara. On the offensive line, they got Dakota Butt, Scott Pancake, Bill McMillan, and Phil McMillan, and the center, Charles Michael. First down, at their 26-yard line, they line up in I spread formation. And start with a handoff here. A good pickup of about 6 yards on an off-tackle run. That is to Dwayne Salmons.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Mark, when we talk about this team, Washington, this is one of those teams that really, you know, you can say if the running game is working, then the offense is working for them, you know. And Salmons had a great season last season, has gotten off a bit slower start here this season, and I think it's impacted Washington's fortunes.
Going to line up heavy. This is going to be a handoff to the outside. For Christopher Dean picks up yards, first down and plenty more before being tackled at the line by number 50 from Minnesota. That is B.J. Loveless. What a run by Christopher Dean.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something you see too often here from the Trident. Christopher Dean's usually the big back, you know, who comes in and spells number 2 for Dwayne Salmons and is usually on the inside there grinding out the yards. That time, he gets that outside release, and credit to the offensive line. They did a great job sealing the edge there and giving him that D-gap run on the sideline, and Christopher Dean takes full advantage. Washington's already moving really quickly.
Credit to the offensive line as they allow another good run here for 4 yards. Julian Gusters, the fullback, and Azami Mihara, the tight end, blocking as well for Washington here on the front.
Yeah, Salmon's off to a good start tonight. It looks like he's trying to really pick up his game. He's only had 1 touchdown so far this season, you know. Absolutely not at all what we would expect from one of the premier running backs in the league.
He definitely has one of the higher running back salaries. Here's a fullback dive. Great play by Washington. They've done it now all through the ground this drive and has been moving down the chains. Quite the opposite of the recently concluded Vancouver game.
Yeah, it's a good run by Julian Gusters, the fullback there. It's only his 7th carry on the season, but, you know, when you get those touches, you got to make them count.
Beautiful outside run back to Dwayne Salmons. The 1-2-3 punch of Salmons, Dean, and Gusters looking alive tonight for Washington.
I mean, Mark, they're grinding them up right now, and that's surprising considering this Minnesota Legend defense is 6th in the league in terms of rushing yards allowed. They allow less than 100 yards on the ground against them per game.
That's kudos to the linebacking crew here from Minnesota, but the fullback dive here goes nowhere. Great tackle by the defensive back. Number 33 will get the name on that. Johnny Bravo, the cornerback, cleaning up that play.
Yeah, felt like the defensive coordinator had enough there and dials up that, you know, that all-out blitz on the inside there. Just clog the lanes with bodies.
3rd and 5. It's near the red zone here. It's going to be a throw for Utah. What a throw and what a catch by King Alexander inside the 10. It's now first and goal to go here.
Oh, Mark, talk about a way to start the game on the passing attack here. The first throw of the night, King Alexander, it's a little bit in front of him from Utah, but, I mean, when you've got a guy with that kind of wingspan that King Alexander has, he can stretch that arm out and bring it in one-handed. It's a great catch over the coverage there and potentially saving his quarterback a little bit.
King Alexander unassuming at 6'3", but makes a nice play to start this first and goal with a run to the outside. Dwayne Salmons will be stopped after a 1-yard gain. We'll introduce you to the Minnesota defense if we have the time here. On the defensive line, Angela Meerkat, Jason Clay, Mark Mello. Linebackers are Matthew Alvarado, Stephen Black, BJ Lovelace, and Stefan Forge. We're going to try to stop the heavy set here as those 7 players are in the box. Look at this, heavy set and defense for both teams here. Same play, same handoff to Salmons. This time a loss of 1. Great tackle by number 47, the strong safety, Derek Meerkat.
No, I'll tell you what, that's what Derek Meerkat can do for you there. You saw him seal off that edge. They tried to go with Salmons twice on that right side there, and that time they had the strong safety lurking in the box and absolutely shut it down immediately.
And so this will engage the empty look for Washington as they try to convert 3rd and goal at about the 8-yard line. Utah will look to throw, deep step back. He has time. Wilson to the outside.
Oh.
He's open. Wide space to run for the end zone. King Alexander 2 for 2 and will be the one to put the first points on the board.
Yeah, that's a great play design there, Mark. You saw that they were all overloading on that right side there in terms of the wide receivers. I think there was 4 or 5 targets there on the line. Yeah, King Alexander's the most inside there, and they've got 2 receivers running that left side, and only one of the defenders goes with them. So Utah just has to make the easy choice there, find the open guy. It turns out it's King Alexander on that play, and he just walks it in. It's an easy touchdown for the Trident, and it really didn't look like it took him too much effort to get down to the end zone and score here, Mark.
100% great running that set up the pass play. Here's the extra point. Oh, goodness me, Brandon. Just nicking the edge there of the goalpost, but that is good. Washington is going to find themselves up 7-0 here early in the ball game. What a drive by Washington to start.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a ton of the run there, but I mean, when the pass was mixed in, it was effective. Utah 2 for 2 and a touchdown there on the first drive of the game, and that's exactly what he needs to settle in and get his confidence going. I think Utah struggled so far throughout the season in the air. He only has 4 touchdown passes coming into the game, so that's number 5 for him on the season, and it's big. As oh man, what a return!
Great return there, Minnesota. That is number 16 on the return, Quag Mam. She had 2 broken tackles, 2 stiff arms to send 2 members of this coverage team to the nether realm. Look at this first one here, bam.
Oh.
And then the second one at the tail end. She's just too speedy. Everyone had to run the width of the field to get to her.
That's what you want in your kick returner, though. You got to be able to stretch the field, horizontally and vertically, because a lot of these kick coverage teams are built of the heavier guys, and maybe not some of the speedsters. So if you got that extra burner speed and can stretch the outsides there, it gives you those extra yards.
So Minnesota is going to be on the field for the first time on their offense here. It's going to be a handoff to Colin Hart as we introduce you to the offense of Minnesota. Quarterback Johnny Reno leads the pack. Isaac Knox, Colin Hart, and Jay Ballmer are the running backs. Wide receivers are Quag Mam, Deezer Powell, Jay Taylor, and EJ Minson. Tight end Jason Franz, and on the offensive line, Carly Forge, Axel Raven, Rudy Raven, and Raven King. Look at this throw by Johnny Reno. Well defended by Washington, and it's now going to set up 3rd and 6 here.
Yeah, I mean, you saw that whole defensive secondary there drop off on that 5 yards from the line of scrimmage area there and just kind of set up camp and really weren't trying to let anything get through in that intermediate there. And unfortunately for Reno, that was kind of his only target.
3rd and long, they're going to be in bunch. Here's the rollout play by Reno. It's going to find a man, and great catch by Jay Taylor on a beautiful route. That rollout play, Brandon, has been the bread and butter of so many teams, and it's showing its strength here in that play.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it opens up different looks for your offense, Mark. I mean, when we're talking about the rollout play, it's all about, A, getting extra time out of the pocket to throw the ball because the defensive line won't be expecting it. But B, you're changing all the angles to your receivers as they're running the routes. If Reno stands in the middle of the pocket there, that throw is going left, a bit across the field. But on that left side roll, it's right in front of him. It's a bit shorter, and it's a lot easier to hit on the dot.
To add to that C, that route combo, dagger concept, opening both the high and low routes for the defense to try to cover. Here's a first down play, a short gain after a pitch play to Colin Hart, 2nd and 8.
Yeah, and to build off of what you just mentioned, Mark, with the dagger concept, that's something that really, I think every offense in the league tries to utilize as much as possible. The daggers, the levels concepts, anything that can kind of make defenders choose.
So 2nd and 8, Utah's looking to throw again. Has the man, and what a play. Jay Taylor now with his 2nd catch of the evening. And Reno is looking sharp tonight.
Yeah, but I mean, you saw the adjustment there. That's the exact same route that he ran on that rollout pass. And that time, there's a Washington DB standing right there waiting for it. And really, I mean, credit to Jay Taylor, because that's a tough catch to make when you've got John DeSantis standing pretty much right in front of you. You've got to be expecting the hit. And sometimes that can put these wide receivers off and make them, a little bit unfocused. But that time, beautiful catch.
Absolutely. Here's a pitch to start another set of first downs. Good first contact, but a broken tackle by Colin Hart meant that he's going to get 3 yards instead of 0. But it's still 2nd and 7.
Yeah, and that's what we expect from this Minnesota offense, Mark. I think everyone around the league knows it. This team is a run-first kind of team. They're 7th in the league in terms of rushing yards per game. They're 1st in the league in terms of average yards per carry at 4.7. And that Knox and Hart double punch has got to be one of the top 3 in the league, in my view.
High spread here is going to go nowhere. They say it's a 1-yard gain. But Washington's going to tackle that well. On the tackle is Nathaniel Diggs, the outside linebacker. They got TJ Harper inactive as one of their linebackers, so they have an extra DB there in the force coverage. But here now, 6, bunch look again, likely to go back to the rollout play, and here they go.
Yep.
Reno to throw.
Oh.
What a play! Nicholas Warner knew which play was coming and run the perfect coverage to pick the ball off.
Yeah, I mean, Nicholas Warner, we talk a lot about him for tackling so far this season. He's been all over the field in that kind of term. But, I mean, a great interception from the linebacker. And again, Mark, it's all about the adjustments. We saw it once from Minnesota, and the Washington defense keyed in on that exact play. Minnesota tries to go back to the well again, and that time they get stung. It's a beautiful under shadow coverage by Nicholas Warner, and a big interception there. Completely shuts down the chance that the Legend were going to get points on that drive.
Only the 2nd interception in the season for Warner. So now Washington has a chance here to extend the lead. They're going to start their drive. They'll say short of the down to gain. That's once again Dwayne Salmons. And we talked about him, Brandon, earlier in the ball game. He's definitely one of the premier running backs in the league. Absolutely one of the heaviest paid as well. And there have been talks earlier in the season on his underutilization. So far, he's been utilized really well.
I say, Mark, you're so worried about what the man's getting paid. We're talking about what he brings to the field, and so far tonight he's been excellent.
He's been excellent, and we saw here in the next 2nd down and inches, Christopher Dean as well, delivering a first down conversion and more. They've been really efficient on the ground.
Yeah, they have. And again, we see that play go to that right side there, and they try and push an extra offensive lineman out there to seal that edge and get that outside lane. And so far, it's been working really well for them tonight. I think Minnesota's going to have to bulk up a little bit or focus more on those outside rushing lanes. But then again, that just leaves the interior open for Salmons.
So 2nd first down. It's going to be a draw play. Well covered by this running defense. It's going to be a tackle for loss. First TFL against the stout running unit.
Yeah, and the draw play is all about the mind games. And I think that it's a little bit of a weird time to call it on the first down, because I feel like if you're ever expecting a run, generally, first down's the down that you expect to see it on.
2nd down and 12, and hang up behind his own offensive lineman is Christopher Dean, and cleaned up by the Minnesota defense there. It's going to set up 3rd and 12. They're likely going to go past here, Brandon, but we got a single back look, so 3 wide receivers minimum. 4.
Looks like we got 4. Yeah, you're going to have to see Utah throw. I'd watch over the middle of the field here. It seems like that's kind of the area that Washington likes to target the most.
Utah will run the ball instead on 3rd and long, wide open. Brandon, the man coverage, we're all running deep. That was just a red carpet rolled out for Utah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's what happens with these man coverage plays on the third down and long mark. Everyone's going deep there. Everyone's trying to get distance, and the DBs just turn their backs and follow their markers down the field. And sometimes that can open up, a running lane for the quarterback. Not everyone can take advantage of it. Tommy Utah certainly can.
We're going to pass again on first down, just about at the 40-yard line here. Throw intended for Mihara. One of his favorite targets, stretching back all the way to last season where Mihara had a near all-star performance this season as well. A decent performance, not as, stellar as last season, but this has been a balanced passing offense.
Yeah, and he's an important part of that offense. Unfortunately, I think Utah was just a couple inches above him there. Maybe if he was 6'4" instead of 6'2", he would have hauled in that pass.
Mihara still the team leader in both receptions and yards. He's going to motion from the left to the right of the line here. It's going to be a handoff down the middle for Salmons. Salmons picks up 5 yards. It's 3rd and 5. And I believe near the midfield here, not yet on Minnesota's side of the field. Tried it now up to 109 yards of offense in the ballgame.
Yeah, and so far, Mark, it's just been good, solid, fundamental football. Like Charles Michael, the center there, getting up to that second level to block. Great job from him.
Utah will pass again on 3rd and long, and that's going to be incomplete. This time looking for Terrell Cooper, who is not able to catch the ball. That, if caught, it would have been the end of the first quarter, but instead, this ball is going to be punted off.
Yeah, it looked like a bit of a misfire there. I think Utah was a bit late on the throw there because he threw it behind Cooper, and he's just not able to adjust there. And, it's unfortunate from Terrell Cooper. I think when he was brought in from Portland, I think a lot of people were expecting him to be the kind of the clear number 1 receiver, and so far hasn't really worked out for him yet here in Washington.
And with this punt return all the way to the Minnesota 22-yard line, that is very quickly 1 quarter down. 3 to go. Washington up 7-0 against the visiting Minnesota Legend. What a great first start here for Washington. Folks, you are joining us here in the SFL Week 10 set of ball games here in the Virtual Football Network. Thank you for joining us here in YouTube. Welcoming everyone on chat. I see Colin Northrop, Nathaniel Diggs, Eric Minson, Robert Thump, and everyone else on the chat right now. Thank you for joining us. We're watching a tight game so far. However, Washington has the edge. First down for Minnesota, goes for yard for a loss. Break that play down, Brendan.
I mean, it's an aggressive call from the Trident defense there. They sent not only the lineman and one of the linebackers there, but they even sent some of the corners in off the edge there to seal that outside there. Looks like they really want to try and make sure that Minnesota's not going to be able to run the ball on them like they are on the Legend defense.
Here's the pressure coming to Reno, and Reno still lets the ball fly and completes it. Great play by Reno. Composure, but also great catch by Minson on that one, his 16th catch of the season.
Yeah, and again, you see the short zone there. Washington pulled that out early in the game, and this time, Minnesota's running a couple of those deeper routes there, and E.J. Minson just blows by his cornerback and sits right in that soft zone spot there, and immediately picks up a first down there. That's got to hurt if you're, if you're Washington, because you had the 2nd and long there. You can't capitalize.
We play to the running back, to Colin Hart. He gets about 2 yards, and actually, on most occasions, I'd say a surprising amount of yards, given how sweep plays in the SFL have been underperforming.
Yeah, it's not something we see very often, and I think coordinators tend to shy away from it a little bit.
Reno again to throw down the middle of the field, and Powell, with his outstretched hands, makes his 30th catch of the season. What a play by Powell.
And that's exactly what we expect from, Johnny Reno. It's such a good throw, and the placement is beautiful. Powell's able to just kind of, that little seam route that they bend just a step inside there. It's kind of the bread and butter of this Minnesota Legend offense in terms of the passing game. And again, it's just under perfection there. And it's all about the connection between the quarterback and the wide receiver.
Reno throws pressure, has to dump it off to the outside to his tight end. But it's going to be incomplete. Jason Peace unable to turn around in time for that catch.
Yeah, Jason France, that's not a normal drop. I think certainly wouldn't expect that from a tight end of his caliber there. And I think he's probably going to go back to the huddle, kind of shaking his head, being like, man, that's the one that I should have gotten.
Correct. It is Jason France and not Jason Peace. Jason Peace hailing from the Houston Headhunters, basically at the other end of the country here.
That's just a little further south, Mark.
A little further south, yeah. Oh my goodness, Reno continuing his hot streak here of passing. This drive alone has completed 3 straight completions, Brandon.
Yeah, he's been excellent on this drive in particular. And I mean, really rebounding well from that early interception there. That one right over the outstretched hands of one of the DBs there, number 24. Albert Begin, the strong safety there for the Trident, and that's kind of one of those riskier throws. He goes across the body there. It's a long distance through the air, and that's kind of one of the throws that only a select few quarterbacks in this league can pull off, and Johnny Reno can.
First down with a bunch look again. It's going to be a pitch to the outside. Sammons breaks a tackle. He breaks a gang tackle before being brought down by a third defender, picking up 6 yards. He has been collecting bodies all night here, Brandon.
Yeah, without much of the effectiveness that I think we sometimes see, though. So far, he hasn't really been able to break off the big runs. He's been solidly consistent so far, and I'm sure he's going to try and continue to build on that as this game goes on.
Run to the inside here is going to be given to, I believe that's to Isaac Knox. Yes.
Yeah.
What a run. Colin Hart with the carry earlier. And then now Knox, that 1-2 punch of running backs has been quite potent for the legend in this drive.
And for the last couple of seasons, I played with Isaac Knox down in the minor league in Chicago together. And, he was running over people there, racking up 300-yard rushing games. So not at all surprised to see him continue to dominate.
Colin Hart's another decent pickup of 6 here. Great running in the last 3 plays for Minnesota. Sets them up inside the red zone now and looking to score.
Yeah, but last time they were in the red zone, though, they turned the ball over with an interception. So now you see him go really run heavy, probably trying to avoid a repeat of that.
Let's see what they do in 2nd and 4. They got that Joker's look here. It's going to be a pitch to the outside. Weak side pitch goes nowhere. Great tackle by Washington. The defensive back, the linebacker, Nicholas Warner, picks up his first tackle of the evening. And dare I say, a tackle for loss. 3rd and 4 now. High spread look for Reno and company. He's going to pass. Deep step back. Dump to the outside, but no good. Not good enough for a first down. Jay Ballmer, the fullback, makes the catch, but cannot break through to get the first down.
It's a great swarm to the ball there. Ballmer catches it in the flat there. It's kind of the dump-off option for Reno, but there's already 3 Trident defenders in between him and the pylon and just not able to make it shake there. But, that stop is all because of Nicholas Warner on that 2nd down play. 99 times out of 100, Colin Hart breaks that tackle and celebrates a touchdown.
Mickey Melillo with the field goal to cut the lead to 4. Can you believe it? This is only Melillo's 10th field goal attempt this season. He makes his 8th completion so far, and the special teams lover is essentially, missing in as far as the stat books show. But maybe that's more an indication of how infrequent they've been getting themselves into the red zone for him to score.
Well, that's also, I think that's a surprise in another aspect. Mickey Melillo is 80% for field goals on the season. Like, that's a stat that I would have been shocked by if you told me that before the season, because he's one of the most reliable legs in the league. So for him to miss 2 already in the season, I think is a big surprise for Minnesota, and not a very welcome one.
They have been in the red zone top 9 in getting there, but they've been converting more than a third into touchdowns. Washington starts off the drive here to Sammons, who picks up 3 yards. It might be a battle of running backs here, as it's going to be the Sammons Dean show versus the Knox Colin Hart show.
And so far, I think Sammons and Dean have been punching a little bit above their weight there. Knox and Hart is such a good 1-2 punch that it's hard to compete. But, Sammons and Dean have looked really nice so far.
Run to the outside by Dean. He almost gets a first down. It's 3rd and 3 here. 3rd and 3 opens up the playbook. You could run or pass it here, Brandon.
Yeah, it's a tough call. I think this is honestly a section that a lot of coordinators really like to be in here as these 3rd and shorts is because you have the whole playbook open to you. You know, it's not a 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 where you have to pass. You have so many options here. It looks like they might try and run.
They will shovel it. The shovel play to Salmons. It caught me off guard, but not Minnesota, as they pinched the inside, Brandon, and there was nowhere for Salmons to go after the catch.
Yeah, it's a good tackle by Angela Meerkat there. And, you know, when you pull out that shovel play, you're really relying on, it's almost the reverse draw play in a way, because you're trying to trick that defense and get them off guard and just to secure the little extra bit of yardage there. But, you know, fair play to Angela Meerkat. She kept her eyes on the ball, was paying attention the whole way, secures a big 3rd down stop.
That'll count as a catch for Salmons and a pass for Tommy Utah. The shovel pass, a forward throwing motion there. So more stats for Utah on the stat sheet, but Minnesota's going to get the ball back. They're going to start at the 32-yard line with a chance to cut into the lead or even take the lead here. They line up with their doubles look. Reno will pass it. The pressure is there. Unblocked, uncovered, unopposed is Nathaniel Diggs, who picks up his first sack of the evening.
It's beautiful, Mark. It's all about the timing there. If you've got the snap count in your head and you can jump that snap at the right time there as a linebacker, you can blow through that A gap before anyone's got a chance to respond. Nathaniel Diggs pulls it off perfectly there. And that's something that defensive coordinators all around the league are trying to perfect week in and week out. And you just saw great execution of it right there.
Nickel look by Washington to match the 3 wide receiver look of Minnesota. Reno will look to throw. He throws deep and incomplete, looking for, I believe that is Quagmam. No, it's Deezer Powell. Had an outstretched arm, but so did the defender.
Yeah, and I mean, Kappa Jones there too with the tip there that actually breaks up the pass. It's a good bracket coverage there on the left side. And, you know, every time I see Kappa Jones, I just got to say, that guy moved from an inside linebacker to strong safety. It's always a shocking transformation from.
So trips look by Reno. Had a man, had a step on the defender, but just could not connect with number 13. Wait, 13 is Reno. My bad. I believe that's Quagmam, the intended target. Or I thought I saw a 3 on the player number. Might be Minson.
I think it was either EJ or Deezer, I think. But I mean, you know, Johnny Reno's mad with himself, and you can tell that he probably should be, because that's an open pass, and you got to hit that one.
Thankfully, our statisticians here to save the day, being told that it's EJ Minson, the intended target. And so far this ball game, after that incompletion, Reno is now down to a quarterback rating of 40.3, a 54.5% completion rate. This Washington defense has been proving troublesome for Johnny Reno and the passing crew.
Yeah, but at the same time, it hasn't really wounded him that much in this game, Mark. You know, it's still 7-3, and if you hadn't thrown that interception in the red zone, almost certainly you'd be either 7-6 down, or you'd be up 10-7 right now. So really, you know, Reno hasn't been playing the best right now, but so far it hasn't actually hurt Minnesota that badly.
Washington will start with a draw play here. That goes for a great amount of yards, 8 yards. They say Wayne Salmons. Almost looked like a first down. What did you think of that play?
I thought he got like 5 or 6 yards there. I did not see 8 from that one, but you know what? Fair enough. Sometimes, you know, it's hard to see things from up here in the booth, Mark. So, you know, I'll give the referees the benefit of the doubt.
must be the camera angle. We're not exactly parallel here to the field lines. Gonna be a fullback dive here, and that's good enough for a first down and more. 6 yards on the carry. And Washington has been mixing it up. They got the halfback pitch plays, draw plays, fullback dives. Julian Guster's contributing to the ball game. He has 13 yards in the evening as well.
Yeah, you love to see that from a fullback. You know, I will always champion a good fullback there. And so far, Julian Guster's only touched the ball twice, but he's picked up 2 key first downs for his team, and he's made those touches count. And that's what you love to see from a big bruising fullback type.
Here's the 3 wide receiver look. They're going to go with a run down the middle. Salmons punched down, or well, not punch, but basically shoulder hit into the ground with a 5-yard gain. They are inching closer. Well, they've now crossed the midfield here, Brandon, and smelling some points.
Yeah, hopefully. You probably got about 10 more yards before you're in field goal range there, but I mean, a beautiful use of misdirection there on that last play.
Christopher Dean will be tackled great hit by Alvarado. We'll take a chance here to introduce you to the Minnesota defense. Angela Meerkat, Jason Clay, Mark Mello, and Matthew Alvarado. Stephen Black, BJ Loveless, and Stefan Forge are on the front seven. This is a 2-minute warning. Minnesota with the ball game. The defense of, Washington with the ball. The defense of Minnesota rounded out by Chris Stack, Nicholas Frossel, Johnny Bravo, David Leathers, Slyn Shady, and Derek Meerkat, all in the defensive back crew. Washington's going to line up empty here. Third and medium. They're going to throw it, and incomplete. Intended target was Phil Koss, who has yet to notch his first catch of the ball game. Tommy Utah has slung it only a total of 6 times, and has only completed 3 of them.
I thought Utah was going to tuck and run there. It looked like he had the first down, pretty wide open there. But I understand why he threw it, because he got it right over the linebacker with the outstretched hand, and it hit Phil Koss in the hand. I don't know why he only had the one hand up there, because if he put 2 mitts on that one, I think that's a first down.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, Tommy Utah earlier in the ball game, if you're just joining us, had a 1 attempt 20-yard scamper for the first down on 3rd and long earlier. So it's definitely reasonable to think he would do something similar there, but he didn't, and instead Minnesota get the ball back. Washington's defense back on the field here. I spread formation, offsetting the fullback to the strong side. It's going to be a handoff to Colin Hart. Colin Hart picks up, they say, 4 yards before being held up by a teammate. Minnesota with 1 minute 40 seconds to go and all timeouts. They're still inside their 25-yard line. They might take forever to get anywhere near scoring range.
Yeah, they're not hurrying too much. I wonder if the starting field position has kind of scared them off of trying a long drive here. But really, I think you should try and go for it, because if you can put some points up on the board before halftime, this game would be really tight, either way going into the locker room. And that score might be that extra bit of momentum you need.
Absolutely. Knox there with a 2-yard carry. That said, Minnesota will get the ball at the half. So really, they can do whatever they want here. Going to be an outside run here. They get the first down. The clock is running. They're not going to call a timeout, Brandon. They look very content to go in the second half as is.
Yeah, I think I might call a bit of a different game on the sideline. But, fair enough to Minnesota. I think they feel like they're getting into a bit of a rhythm here, and they don't want to risk potentially disrupting that rhythm. Reno has already thrown an interception, so there is always a chance you could throw another one and make things a lot harder on yourself headed into halftime.
Reno will finally throw in this drive, trying to get deep quickly. Incomplete, as he was looking for Jay Taylor. Once again, Jay Taylor unable to haul that ball in.
Yeah, it's a good hit there from Nicholas Warner, who already has that interception earlier on in the game. And I think if they completed that pass, Mark, we might have seen a bit more urgency from this offense. But as it is, we might see that rollout play again here. They really like it out of the bunch.
They do, and now they're going to be a short step back here. An out route. Oh, Jason France. Sorry, that is not Jason France. That's E.J. Minson. Both players starting with an 8 on their player number, but Minson will pick up a catch, but not even close to any deep yardage gain. 13 seconds left here in the first half with 1 play to go. Will they even call a timeout, or will they run this clock down? They'll do a fake out play action, but that's going to be tipped by the defense. As I thought it was a run play, the defense did not. Washington holds strong. That is how the ball game is going to end, folks. It is a close game between Washington 7-3. Washington 7 points in the first quarter. Minnesota's 3 points in the second quarter, and that is where we are at the moment. It's been a close one so far, Brandon.
Yeah, it's been a tight one. Defensive lovers have got to be on watch for this one tonight. It's been so tight. The margins are so fine. It really feels like one of those games where every play and all the little things are really adding up in terms of, how we're looking at this one going into halftime. Washington, I feel like has really been able to hit a little bit above their weight class in terms of how well their offense has been moving on this Minnesota defense so far. And that's got them that touchdown. But aside from that opening drive, it feels like it just hasn't clicked right for them in the same way that it did on that first set of plays. As for Minnesota, It just feels like it's a little bit of miscommunication. I don't know if it's maybe a little bit of rust that needs to get shaken off here or what, but Johnny Reno just hasn't been able to consistently connect with his receivers. And although the running game has been doing all right, it's not been good enough to get them moving down the field in a position to really keep up with Washington so far. But it's still 7-3. You know, this game could go anywhere from here.
You're watching the Simulation Football League action here in the Virtual Football Network. This week on BFN SFL Week 10 continues tomorrow and Monday, while the UFL playoffs reach the conference semifinals Tuesday and Wednesday. SFLM Tuesday and Thursday as well. No other network gives you more football. The SFL lives on the VFN. Also, we got our first game update of the ball game, Ken. What do you guys got over there?
Thank you, Mark. A game that Minnesota will definitely be paying attention to. The 4-2 Warriors, the 4-2 Nightwings at the top of the Central Division. Jeremy Mosley with the rushing touchdown there after Chicago got a cheap one early. It's 7-7 halfway through the second quarter. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Cam. And we got a bunch of very close ball games so far tonight. If you were tuning in to our first slate of games here, we got a close one where Pittsburgh edged out DC to give DC their second straight loss. Vancouver hanging on a 1-point win against Fort Worth, and this game is 7-3. It's also it's a tie game in the other ball game, Brandon. And this one, even in the second half, it looks like things are grinding to a halt.
Well, it's a great, Friday night of football here, Mark. All the games were close tonight so far, and this one certainly is. I mean, again, we see, Minnesota trying to just kind of take the yards that they can get, but Washington's not giving them much.
Reno will throw on third down. He finds his man. Reno decisive with it and completes it to Jay Taylor. Jay Taylor now the team leader as far as receptions go in the evening.
And again, we're talking about fine margins here. Reno throws that ball, and it's right next to Nicholas Warner's hand there. It probably a couple of inches away from tipping that one down for another fourth down that Minnesota would have to punt on. Instead, huge first down. They're already past midfield now with that one play. It could be big for Minnesota's game tonight.
Minnesota is looking to put more points on the board. Their lowest scoring game ever is a 3-point game on the road against Baltimore. They only scored 3 points so far. Here's a pitch to the outside to Colin Hart. However, Washington there with a great tackle. That was number 49. As we
Maxwell Quimby.
49. Maxwell Quimby, you're correct. The quarterback cleaning that up.
I know, it's a good tackle from a corner. That's what caught my eye, Mark. Normally you don't see a cornerback make a tackle on a running back like that, especially not someone like Colin Hart.
And the run has been stifled in back-to-back plays. Now Isaac Knox tackled for a loss, and Washington is clamping down here to start the third.
Any linebackers watching this tonight, watch Nicholas Warner. His tackling form is impeccable. He's wrapped up these running backs so many times.
Reno will throw. Reno completes. Oh, he completes it to Vincent. I thought the ball was dropped from his hands, but he collects it one-handed.
He did drop it.
Oh,
I was saying, he bobbled it there in the air. Oh, man.
What great composure, Brandon. The wherewithal to stay on it. He essentially tips his own catch, playing a defender. His own defensive coordinator might start scouting him for the other side of the ball.
Right. I mean, that's all about concentration, though. Great job.
Oh, a rollout here, and back to Taylor. Taylor has been busy tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a title weight bout right now. It's Nicholas Warner up against Jay Taylor. Again, they're going over the middle there in that coverage, and Warner's got a hand right in between, in between Jay Taylor's hands as he brings that pass in, but still somehow able to bring it in and haul it in for the first down. Those two are really going back and forth. That's the matchup that we're going to have to keep an eye on tonight.
Reno now up to 11 for 18, 61% completion rate. He completes another one here to A.J. Minson again. So now Minson and Taylor with 5 catches apiece. Johnny Reno still touchdownless, but a pretty efficient night so far, especially in this drive at 2nd and inches.
Well, they're in the red zone again here, and you're going to have to see, can they finally get it into the end zone? Because the first time it was an interception, second time they could only get a field goal.
Going to hand it off here. Fake the fullback and then given to Hart instead. They get the first down, they say.
Yeah, I thought Warner might have stopped him short there. And again, he really seems to be the focal point of the game right now. He's been in the area the last couple of catches. He's been making the last couple of tackles on these running backs. Feels like that's kind of where the game is concentrated right now, is in that linebacker position.
Motioning Minson. Washington is showing man coverage, yeah. Following there, it's going to be a run here. And tackled well. Washington cleans that up easy. How many tackles for losses? That is the 5th tackle for loss in this ballgame for Washington, Brandon.
I mean, again, Nicholas Warner, it's his show tonight. He's running it. Isaac Knox got a bit stuck on his blocker there, but even if he didn't, Warner picks him up and slams him back down on the turf immediately.
Warner has the 3rd tackle for loss after that one. It's 2nd and 11 here for Reno and company. Reno likely to pass. Now he's going to pitch it to the outside. And every Washington defender swarms this play. Colin Hart, they say, will pick up 3. That's a generous spot, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I thought he might have got about a yard there. But, I feel like the refs have been a little generous with the spots tonight. But again, this defense swarming to the ball, getting bodies in the way of these running backs. That's how you slow them down and stop them, because they're so good at breaking that first contact.
3rd and 8 with the quads look, Minnesota inside the 10-yard line. Oh, sacked. Who else? It's Warner again. What happened? Just blitzed through, Brandon.
Yeah, again, we saw that earlier in the game, but it was Nathaniel Diggs who was the one who was assigned with that gap penetration. That time it's Warner who gets to go ham on the quarterback and bring him down for a sack. And again, it's that seam between the guard and the tackle, that B seam on that left side of the line. They're exploiting it right now. And if you're Minnesota, you got to try and figure out some kind of way to stop that.
It was either Axel Raven or Ruthie Raven who was unable to pick up the block. And he was just unabated to his way to Johnny Reno. Nicholas Warner, he now has 9 solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle, 1 sack, 4 tackle for losses, 1 pass deflection, and 1 interception. He's having a night.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game from a linebacker. He's got to be hyped up. I mean, look at that statistic. Tackles for loss, Warner has 5. The entire Legend defense only has 2. It's a beautiful game for him.
And because of that, they limit Minnesota to 3 points. And they're going to maintain the lead as they get the ball back here. It's no surprise, VFN is live again. Please support our hardworking crew by smashing that like button, subscribing, and commenting on this video. It really helps the channel out. Turn notifications on so you'll never miss a live stream, highlight, or podcast. Thank you for your support of the Virtual Football Network and the SFL. Here's a first down play to Sammons. He has been destroying defenders on the outside there, so just give him room on the outside. He's going to make magic.
Well, so is Dean, but I'll tell you, it's that right side in particular that they've really been targeting aggressively so far in this game. I wonder if that's something intentional with the Trident game plan coming into this game or not. But either way, it's working out beautifully for them, because you get 9 on the first down, and now you get to put Christopher Dean in that backfield and probably run it again here on 2nd and 1.
Single high safety against this run man coverage, and it's going to be enough here as Morrow, the backup, gets a touch here. The backup fullback will get a touch and a first down. I mean, hey, everyone's contributing. That just goes to show the diversity of this running game.
Yeah, I mean, Guster's probably got a little bit tired on that first down play because he was throwing a big block out on the outside.
Here's Utah! Oh. Utah completes it. That is King Alexander.
Again.
I mean, he's the only one with the reception for Washington tonight. That is his 3rd. And he does it again with 1 hand.
Yeah, it's the 2nd time now we've seen that one-hander from the left side deep down the field. It's almost a mirror of that play from the first drive that they got. And it's a shocking stat that you just mentioned, that King Alexander is the only one of the 6 targets in the passing game so far for Washington that's caught a pass tonight from Tommy Utah.
Oh, to be fair, Utah has only thrown it a total of 7 times here. Washington has been doing things mostly through the ground. That would be number 20 rushing attempt total here for the Washington offense. So you're looking at a 3-to-1 ratio of runs to passes. They're going to line up in the I spread doubles here. It's going to be a run down the middle, but tackled. Well, but no. Christopher Dean is a beast. Sorry, no, that's Julian Gusters is a beast. Hit behind the line of scrimmage, Brandon, but he gets more than what the defense intended.
Yeah, it's an interesting wrinkle there. You put the fullback in your backfield as the single back and let him go to town. And that's why you do it there, because we all thought he was dead to rights in the backfield, but he's so big and powerful that he can churn those legs and keep moving.
And the fullback again, the backup. He gets the second carry, Morrow. And he gets the second first down. 2 touches, 2 first downs. Give the men a contract.
Yeah, Harold Morrow has been good so far on this drive. That's his second carry of the drive here, and he's really kept things moving for this offense. And, really, it's just beautiful execution by Washington.
Dive down the middle again. This goes not quite anywhere as, Dwayne Salmons slowed down now in the last couple of plays for him. It's 2nd and 10, but Washington are at least near the red zone, if not already there.
Yeah, Alvarado was cheating that gap there just right over top of Salmons. He was waiting for that run, and he got rewarded.
Here's Yuta to throw. Yuta's waiting, biding his time. We'll let it go. Incomplete. Tried to look for Mihara deep. A fair target to throw to, but Mihara was just covered well here. And the pass was on the money there, Brandon.
Yeah, it's a risky throw, though. Oh. Yeah, Mihara, it's right over his head, and I think a little bit of pressure from that the defensive backs there was kind of preventing the tight end from getting his arms up properly for it. But it's a risky throw, to be honest. Honestly, I might, you might want to see Washington just try and take a field goal here with the way their defense has been playing. You want to try and reestablish that cushion, so that way if Minnesota goes back down the field and scores another field goal, they won't, take the lead.
Well, we'll see if they settle here. They one more chance to convert on the first down here. Great blocking by the offensive line. Broken tackle. Can he get there?
Oh, 4th and inches.
They say he's short. That is Johan Sutherland. We'll see if we get a replay here. We'll get a replay. Maybe not, but will we get a challenge?
It's right on the line.
No. Oh, we get a challenge, Brandon.
Yeah, you got to throw the red flag there. It's right on the line, and it's a beautiful play call from this offensive, coaching staff on the 3rd down there. Give it to your speedster, Johan Sutherland, underneath. Let him try and get that first down. If he does, fantastic. If not, you're setting yourself up for that field goal with better field position there. It was a great block by Alexander. He's so close. Alvarado got there maybe just in time, but I think he might have gotten it, Mark. I think he got it.
We'll see if he got it here. The referee will give us the indication. And the ruling stands. He's short. Folks, he's short, and Washington, they lose a timeout. They don't get a first down, and they're going to kick a field goal.
They got in range for the field goal, though, so that's a big silver lining here for Washington, especially the way their defense has been playing, but really unfortunate for Sutherland not to make it there. On the other side, though, big props to Matthew Alvarado. Ooh, is that going to... Oh, he missed it!
It's not good! The field goal is not good! And that's hard to cut you off there, Brandon. James Stroll trolling his team by kicking that ball a little too far to the right, and that's tough. His 2nd miss of the season.
Yeah, James Stroll's 2nd miss of the season. He's made 12 out of now a total of 14 tries, and that one's going to sting because, that could have been the cushion that could be really key to the outcome of this game. This defense is really going to have to stand tall now.
Absolutely, especially, with Colin Hart and company giving Minnesota a chance to run downfield and get into scoring range. If you are new to the Simulation Football League, welcome. I see Eric Brewington saying hello to our league. The SFL is football for everyone. Get off the sideline and start your player today by joining our Discord server at simfl.net. Click the join the community button. Johnny Reno makes an incredible catch in the middle of my ad read. He said, stop talking about the league, talk about me. He throws it to Jay Taylor, and what a play.
I feel like we've been talking about him already all night, so if he's not appreciating the work that we're putting in behind the mics, he better after the end of this one. But beautiful catch there. And again, in Minnesota, Washington gets caught out in that shallow zone there. They only drop back about 5-7 yards off the line of scrimmage there. And again, Reno sees it on the right side and makes him pay. You got to try and figure out a way to get out of that coverage because it's not working for you.
They're going to give it here to Colin Hart on a run plan. What a play by Jay Taylor in the previous play. If you want to be one of those players in one of these teams making those plays, then you can join us in the Discord server at simfl.net. That is simfl.net. That is the end of the third quarter. Minnesota still down 6, but they do have momentum. They are nearing the range of their scoring of their kicker. Click the join the community button and begin your career, or just meet the stars of the SFL on and off the field. It's never too late to get involved. Johnny Reno is going to line up here under center. Joker set. Let's see if they can get the first down in this play. Handoff to the running back, Colin Hart. Short of the first down to gain 1 yard to go. Let's get another quick update. What's happening there back in Denver?
Man, great game over there, Mark. How about this? 17 seconds for Denver, no timeouts. You know what that means. They got to make sure they stop the clock, but they don't need to stop the clock if they score a touchdown. Michael Goodman with the catch, 14-14, capped a 13-play drive and 2-minute offense, all tied up in the third in Colorado. Back to you.
Fantastic ball game. We're also having an incredible one. Can he get there the first time? He does.
Oh, just.
Knox, your man from the minors, making great plays here in the majors as well.
Yeah, Fort Knox, you know, he's ultra reliable, and I think he really picked up that move from Colin Hart, you know, the roll over the tackler there, just to pick up that couple of extra yards there. It gets him the first down. And you know, Mark, the Central Division tonight could be decided in terms of who has really got an angle for that crown.
Reno will throw again. Reno will find a man. Reno has been pretty good despite his interception in their first drive. Besides that, he has been lights out. 159 yards, 13 of 20, now 14 of 21 for 175 yards, 66% completion rate. Still waiting for his first touchdown, but he has been the one driving this offense downfield.
Yeah, but if you're the defensive coordinator for the Trident, you got to be frustrated. Kappa Jones is right in the lane there. If he just puts a hand up, he's going to knock that pass down. And if he turns around, he could have an interception there. So, you know, if you're the Trident defense, you got to try and focus up and get the stop here.
Short step back on first down here, out of bunch look. He's looking for Taylor again. Taylor targeted now 9 times, caught 6 of those catches. He's nearing 100 yards, but he's smelling that incentive money. But Johnny Reno and company are smelling the lead here. 8 minutes and 28 seconds to go. They are in field goal range. Triple look here at second down and long. Reno will throw. Reno short step back. Down the middle. That is good. It's short but good. And that is Deezer Powell, his 3rd catch of the ball game.
It's exactly what you need on the second down there, Mark. You know, you pick up 9, and all of a sudden a daunting 3rd and 10 becomes a very 3rd and 1. Now you're gonna try and see this. Surely they're gonna try and run the ball here.
They will. It's down the middle. Colin Hart gets the first down and more. They set themselves up 1st and goal inside the 5, probably at the 4-yard line. And now Legend have 3 attempts to score 6.
They still haven't been able to this game, though, Mark. You know, if Washington can hold them to a field goal again here, it makes things a lot easier for their offense. So it's really, really telling. This drive here could determine the whole game.
Knox will get it. Tackled and short. 2nd and goal. Probably at the 2-yard line, Brandon.
Yeah, Warner just managed to drag him down, I think, by like the collar, or maybe by the shoulder pad there, and bring him down. He's got 11 tackles so far tonight. He's been putting it all on the line here, but now Colin Hart gets a chance from like the 1.5-yard line on the 2nd and goal. It's going to be tough to stop him.
It will be tough to stop him. We've seen this. We've seen them give it to the fullback here. No, but this is to Hart. Hart dives. He jumps and he punts. Pay dirt and 6 on the board.
Oh, it's a beautiful execution there from the legend, Mark. You know, they motioned that fullback, Jay Ballmer, to the left side at the last second there, trying to keep the defense in doubt as to where exactly Hart is going to go with the ball until the last possible moment. They run it on that left side. Ballmer has the early step because of the positioning, puts the block in to seal that C gap, and all Colin Hart has to do is essentially waltz in. He wasn't even in danger of being touched there. It's great blocking from the offensive line as well to secure the touchdown. And I am a little surprised that they're going to go and take the extra point here, because if you went for 2 and got it, it would be a 7-point game. I don't really see why, a 6-point game versus a 7-point game versus a 5-point game. I feel like you just try and go for the 2-point conversion and make it a full touchdown lead there.
Whatever the decision they decided, that made them make that decision, we'll see if it bites them at the end of the ball game here. However, they regained the lead, or perhaps they gained the lead for the first time. They haven't led at all game, so now up 13-7. Perhaps, Brandon, they want to rely on their defense and say 6 points. You're probably not going to get more points than 3 here. Here's Washington to start off in their bunch formation at their 20-yard line after the kneel down at the end zone. Motioning a receiver from right to left. That is Terrell Cooper, who is still catchless in the evening. Rollout by Utah. He's going to throw to the out route. The post corner route is good and complete. His first catch of the ball game is Phil Koss.
PI as well going to get tacked onto that. That's a big play for Washington. They're going to move way down the field here.
They'll decline the pass interference, give those yards to Cooper and to Utah. Utah now up to 6 for 10. And he's now back on the positive completion rate, 60% completion. But down 6, sense of urgency is probably high on the offensive camp for Washington.
Well, there's still 7 minutes in the game, though.
There is, and 3 timeouts.
I was going to say, don't go away from the run game there as Salmons gets the 4 on the first down there. It's been working for him all game. You got to try and keep it integrated, although you probably will have to lean on Utah a little bit more.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially once you get to those situations where you need to go downfield quick. But because they are still within a 1-score range, look at Christopher Dean just run through the gaps and bring his defender down forward with him 2 yards.
Christopher Dean, I had to check the sheet here to take a look. Christopher Dean is 6'3" and 260 pounds, but he runs about as fast as Dwayne Salmons does, or most of the running backs in this league. I'm insanely impressed by the amount of speed that he's able to pick up on some of these runs here. It really feels like he hits the second level really early on in these plays.
All 260 pounds are on his quads, his leg muscles. He has the legs of a horse, essentially.
The quad
Here's
father.
the handoff. The quad father. That is awesome. As the run to the outside goes nowhere. In fact, they'll say it's a negative yardage play. Great tackle for loss for Minnesota, who pick up the 3rd total tackle for loss here in the ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, that's key for Minnesota. If they can stop that running game in its tracks, they're going to force Utah to throw.
He will throw. He will look for Mihara, who is still catchless tonight. Mihara thrown to 3 times now and still unable to connect with his superstar tight end.
It just might not be his night, Mark. 3rd time now, and I feel like all 3 times Mihara's had a chance at it at least and just hasn't been able to reel it in. And, sometimes players just have nights where they're not on it, and you got to try and lean on somebody else to get you those yards.
Quads look. Utah will throw on 3rd and long. He'll throw short. Will complete it. Can he get the first down? Oh, no. Short. Short by 1 yard. Do you feel like you go for this, Brandon?
I think they might. I want to see. Oh, no.
Oh,
okay.
They're going to punt it. Why would you go for it, Brandon?
I just think, you're already past midfield here. Even if you don't pick it up, your defense isn't starting in too bad of a position. And we've seen, Minnesota already has had over 5-minute long drives in the game here. So, we know they can drain the clock out from this kind of position here. It's a bit of a risk. The defense has been good for the Trident all night, so I understand why they would punt it, but it might be a little bit risky at this stage of the game.
Absolutely, and with how much time is left, that their drive alone drained 2 minutes from the clock, and now it's 4 minutes 50 seconds left in the ball game, folks. We're watching a tight one here. Thank you for joining us in the SFL here in the Virtual Football Network. We got a beautiful game for you so far. Can Minnesota hang on to their 6-point lead? Or can Washington get their defense off the field in this drive and give Utah a chance to retake the lead? However, Minnesota here, first down, picks up 4 yards thanks to the efforts of Colin Hart at 2nd and 6 at their 23-yard line. They're going to motion the fullback to the other side. Let's see if they give it to Knox. They will. Knox jumps over the defensive line. He's going to pick up another 4. 1 yard short. It's 3rd and short, and I wouldn't be surprised, Brandon, if they keep running the gut.
Oh, yeah, no, you got to see Colin Hart get the ball here on the 3rd down. But, I mean, big play by Nathaniel Diggs there. I think Knox was going to push over the 1st down marker, and number 54 able to arrive on the scene at the last second and push him back. But it's going to be tough to stop him here.
Oh, they do stop him. I 100% agree with you, Brandon, but Washington is here to prove us wrong as they stop him behind the line of scrimmage. A TFL at the best possible time for them. They get TFL number 7 at the crucial moment of the ballgame.
Yeah, King McNeely's first tackle of the game, too, from the defensive line. And, you know, heck of a time to get your first tackle in the game, I'll say that much.
Fair catch by Washington will set them up at their 34-yard line. We are getting to heart attack territory if we're not already there. Coaches and fans of both teams at the edge of their seat. I'm at the edge of my seat, Brandon. I think I might start getting off my seat here and be on my feet as we're nearing the end of the game clock. 34, 1st and down at the 34-yard line. Washington, Tommy Utah will give the ball off to start this drive. And Salmons, he's on his way to the 1st down, and they say he gets it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful run there. That's exactly how you want to start the drive here. And, you know, you've still got that amount of time on the clock to where you can keep that running game integrated into the offensive plan. And Salmons, you know, really, I think they just got to keep targeting the outside because it's been working for them all game long. Minnesota's at their best in the interior when they can have those linebackers really shoot gaps. If you get it to the outside, it's a lot harder for them to cover.
Empty look now for Tommy Utah and company. Frank the Tank in the chat joining us as well. Welcome to the Simulation Football League. Welcome to an amazing game. You've caught us in an awesome moment here in the ballgame. And what a throw by Utah. He finds his man. That is Phil Costa gets catch number 2 here in the 4th quarter and catch number 2 in the ballgame.
It's exactly what the Trident want to see out of Tommy Utah, because all game long he's been reliant on King Alexander to be the one who makes the catches. If you can spread the ball out to more of your receivers and get them involved in the game, you know, that's going to open up a lot more for this offense. Utah has been efficient so far in the limited times they've called on him, but you got to try and see Terrell Cooper, Shane Kaufman, and Azami Mihata getting as involved in the game as Sutherland, Alexander, and Koss have.
Here's a handoff down the middle to Salmons once again. He'll pick up 2 yards, and it's an incredible ball game, but we want to find time to talk about all around the Virtual Football League or the Virtual Football Network on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We got the VFL or the SFLM season 11 is underway, and we got games on Tuesday and on Thursday. Join us on those set of games here on the Virtual Football Network. Empty look again for Tommy Utah, but they're not gonna let the ball fly here into the 2-minute warning. It is do or die now with 120 seconds to go in regulation.
Yeah, it's the business end of the game now, Mark. And, you know, this is the time, I think, when you're going to have to lean on that home field advantage a little bit. That crowd's got to give you that energy. You got 2 minutes left. You got to go down and win the game.
Utah with a deep step back. He's going to throw to the corner. He finds his man. And what a play by Terrell Cooper. He gets his first catch of the ball game. These players are getting their first catches of the ball game at crucial times.
I thought he spun out of the second tackle from Meerkat there. I thought he was going to have a house call on the right side there. Utah drops so far back, but it still finds his wide open receiver there, and great catch by Cooper. Now you're already in the red zone here. You got plenty of time. You can still run the ball. You don't even have to really try and force anything because you've got a first down before you get to the goal-to-go situation. So you've got potentially 6 downs at least to potentially get down there and score.
Absolutely. And of those 6, the first one is going to be a run down the middle to Salmons. They say it's a gain of no yards. Tommy Utah now up to 9 for 14 completions, or 9 completions in 14 attempts. That's a 64% completion rate. QBR up to 117 tonight. He is out here now with the eye spread look. We'll look to throw. We'll throw down the middle of the field. Has the man, has his man open, and will get the first down. That is Terrell Cooper again. 2 catches for him back to back.
I'll tell you what, though, Matthew Alvarado was about to obliterate Tommy Utah in the backfield there, and it's a big block by Julian Gusters, the fullback there, to pick up the cut block on the blitzing linebacker and give his quarterback just enough time to complete a huge first down pass.
And though they have all timeouts, they don't need to call all of them. 30 seconds to get a touchdown here for the lead. Everyone get off your seats. What's going to happen here? They're going to start with a handoff to Salmons. He's short. They're going to say he's short, and Minnesota's going to call their first timeout.
He's short, but he picked up a couple of yards there. And sometimes, you know, if you can just get a little bit closer, that increases the odds that the next time you run the ball, you're going to get into the end zone. You've only got 1 yard to go here. It's second down and goal. So you've got 3 chances now to get 1 yard and get in the end zone if you're Washington.
Here's slot look here. Second and goal with 1 to gain. They're going to roll out and pass. Tommy Utah will throw. It's tipped. Intercepted. Tipped and almost intercepted with 23 seconds to go. It feels like they're now in the passing mode, trying to get into the end zone through the air.
Oh, man, that ball was getting passed around like a plate at a buffet, Mark, or a hot potato. I think it hit at least 2 legend hands, maybe 3 pairs of hands there, but somehow it doesn't get intercepted. Risky play call there from Washington. It didn't bite them too badly here. Third down and goal.
Third and goal. Not the best time to make me hungry. Trying to make a comparison to the buffet. Tommy Utah will throw again. He's going to find the end zone. Oh, no, a flag on the play.
It'll reset the downs at least.
It will reset the downs. It's 19 seconds to go. Tommy Utah has 3 chances. By the looks of what the offensive coordinator has been doing the last few plays, Brandon, we're going to see 3 passes in a row here with the amount of clock we have left.
Which I really don't understand, because they still have 2 timeouts, Mark. You know, you can try and run the ball, and if you don't get it, just call a timeout, because I highly doubt that you're going to go backwards and lose any yardage here. I mean, it's such a light box. There's only 4 down on the line and 1 close linebacker. You could run it with Salmons up the middle here, and I think, and get a touchdown.
We'll see what they do here if they do run it. No, it's a pass. Tommy Utah, short pass, incomplete. Mihara still unable to haul anything in.
He can't bring it in tonight. You got to go somewhere else there. I mean, King Alexander has been good tonight. Phil Koss might have a chance at it. Kaufman's got a big frame, but you got to get away from Mihara. He has not had it.
Oh, my goodness. Same look here for Mihara and company. 3 wide receivers and a tight end. Salmons in the backfield.
The corners are so off. The corners are so off here, Mark.
They are so off. Let's see if there's any pressure. 6 is going to rush him. To the outside is good to Sutherland. He had only 1 catch all night for 9 yards. He'll get his second for 1 yard, but it's also a catch for 6 points.
What a dagger, Mark. It's a beautiful play call there. Finally, they figure out the passing concept that's going to work for them. They knew that they were going to try and keep the inside leverage there, the legend defenders. So they get their speedy guy, Johan Sutherland, on the outside, and they have him run that quick out to get as much separation as quickly as possible. And they take the lead here with no time left in the game. No time left in the game.
We're going to get one final game update before this game goes down to the final seconds. Cam, let us know what's happening there.
Thank you, Mark. It is a nail-biter in Denver as well. This was a 3rd down and goal for the Night Wings. Both teams had 14 first downs. O'Shaughnessy scores. It's 21 apiece. Jimmy Hatch's got a pick. Denver's in the red zone, but they still have a whole quarter to go in that one as Minson gets it up to the 32-yard line with 6 seconds to go. Denver just scored, guys. They're up 27-21. Back to you.
Holy smokes. We're juggling 2 incredibly close ball games here. No time to wink.
Oh, man. He broke that tackle. I thought he had a shot at it. Mark. But you got 6 seconds here. You only need to get to field goal range, and you've got timeout. So maybe you could try throwing something over the middle, but I think they're going to try and go for the Hail Mary. They want it all.
They are in Hail Mary. It is the final play. They have 3 timeouts, but I don't know if it's enough time after this play. Here's the Hail Mary. Deep, caught, timeout.
I can't believe it. I can't believe he caught that, Mark. They're going to have a chance at the field goal. What is it, 57 yards from here?
I think they're going to throw. I think 57 is too far, Brandon. Melillo in the sideline. She says I'm 3 yards short from my
The corners
range.
are so shallow. They're so shallow, Mark. They could hit him again over the top here.
Here's Reno for the win. It's no good. The throw was not even deep enough for the touchdown, and Washington, a masterclass of a 2-minute warning, top it off with the masterclass of prevent defense to end the ball game, 14-13. How many nights are you gonna see back-to-back 1-point games? What a ball game!
Oh man, talk about a great ending, Mark. You know, that had everything. We saw the defense and then the offensive drive there from Washington. It felt, you know, I questioned the decision to punt the ball back to Minnesota and give them a chance to ice the game, but clearly that Washington Trident coaching staff had the confidence in their defense to go out and get that one more defensive stand that they needed. And then that offense came back with a beautiful 2-minute drive. Tommy Utah, it was great all night, honestly, was efficient. And when it counted the most, they were dialing up those passing plays over and over there on the 1-yard line. And we were saying, hey, just run the ball, just run the ball. But eventually they found the play that was going to work for them, and they pick up a big win at home here. It's huge for them in the Western Division. As for Minnesota, it's an absolute heartbreak in the Central Division.
Give me your player of the ball game, Brandon.
Nicholas Warner, easy.
Nicholas Warner is a very incredible defensive player. I'm going to give it to Tommy Utah, who clutched it up at the end there. But that is it for us tonight, folks. You can catch another recap of this ball game on Monday when Mike St. Green and Cameron Irvine return for SFL This Week, recapping all of Week 10. But for me and Brandon Walters and our stats crew and Cameron Irvine on production, thank you for joining us tonight. Have a good night and see you tomorrow.